I have the privilege now to introduce our next speaker, who's going to help us get a better understanding of the meaning of this national holiday, and that's going to be Dr. Carline Phillips. Dr. Phillips is a lifelong learner and teacher, having taught at every level of education, elementary in Massachusetts, secondary level education in Illinois, and at the college and university levels at Simpson, Iowa State, and right here at Drake. In 2002, she co-founded the Carver Learning Institute for Educational Equity. It's an organization that's designed to use technology to help improve reading and comprehension skills among disadvantaged youth in the Des Moines community. She is a published author, frequent speaker and presenter, and is a member of a host of professional organizations. Among her many honors and awards, she was recognized with the 2013 President Obama Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drum Major Service Award. Please welcome Dr. Carline Phillips.
Thank you, Adam. Good morning, everybody. It is terrific to see so many people out so early to celebrate and get started on a wonderful day of celebration in the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. I want to recognize our Lieutenant Governor here, and I want to commend the Grub Y and all of their officials in a second great event. This is wonderful, so hats off to you. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the recipients of their respective awards. Miss Aaliyah Foley, I don't know where she is. I know her personally from having worked with her with the Delta Gyms, where we've mentored young ladies as a group of Deltas who are committed to working and serving in the community. And also Jamal Crawford, I don't know where they are, where he is either, and Vernon Johnson. So congratulations on your awards today. Today, Dr. Martin Luther King Day is an American federal holiday that was signed into law by then-President Ronald Reagan in 1983 and first observed 3 years later. So what is the meaning and the significance of this day? Some would say it's to observe and remember a great man. I think we would agree that the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King and the significance of his life was even more than that of a great man. Dr. King was an extraordinary man, a rare man, and a selfless man who was gifted in his vision for how humankind could be better if each of us were willing to become servants, to serve, to work together for change, for making a difference. He said, "Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but through continuous struggle." This courageous man, who was relentless in his pursuit of civil rights for his people to the point of being jailed nearly 30 times, was born on January 15, 1929, and was named Michael King at birth. It was only later in life, as a teenager, that he decided to take the name of his father and became Martin Luther King Jr. Like Martin Luther King was a change agent, even a change maker who struggled against unfair laws and injustices. Both spent their lives fighting for equality for others. Dr. King was heralded as a leader, though I see him as a servant leader, and that he worked tirelessly to meet the needs of others, and most often the underprivileged, until the day he died. Paramount to his character, Martin Luther King was a believer in nonviolent activism during the Civil Rights Movement. He led protests against racial discrimination at every level, including the federal level, galvanizing innumerable groups with otherwise different religious beliefs, backgrounds, and approaches to answer the clarion call to help poor people who are unable to help themselves, for civil rights legislation, and to end racial segregation. Dr. King was not one to be persuaded to wait for a better time or the right time to march for justice or the rights of people who were of different colors. No, he wasn't even persuaded by then-President Kennedy, who initially felt that the March on Washington might threaten the legislature into voting against the civil rights laws. Rather, he persevered working nonstop to ensure the rights of people of color, poor people, and all those considered less than or not equal to. In his own words, this extraordinary man, Martin Luther King, stated, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." Further, he cited what he thought of thinking of oneself when he said that we all have to decide whether we will walk in the light of creative altruism or the darkness of destructive selfishness. Life's most persistent and nagging question, he said, is, what are you going to do for others? I read recently that he would quote Mark 9:35, the scripture in which Jesus of Nazareth tells James and John, "Whosoever will be great among you shall be your servant, and whosoever among you will be first shall be the servant of all." Lastly, in one of many historical pieces about his life, Dr. King talked about the end of his mortal life in one of his last sermons on February 4th in the pulpit of Ebenezer Baptist Church, when even then he lifted up the value of service as a hallmark of a full life. And I quote, "I'd like somebody to mention on that day, Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others," he said. "I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to love and serve humanity." So what is the meaning of this day? It really is quite simple. It means that all God's children, no matter what color, creed, race, gender, or economic status, must be bold and commit ourselves to the principles that Martin Luther King lived out in his life. This day is meant to be a day that we can recommit. Commit to being a servant leader by thinking of the needs of others, the less fortunate, first. Commit to never giving up the struggle for equal freedom and the pursuit of happiness for all people in this nation. Commit to never compromising or waiting in the face of challenges, but rather meeting them head on with unwavering faith that God will always be on the side of right. And finally, commit to working for the betterment of all humankind through service to those who need help. These are some of the ideals Dr. Martin Luther King embraced, and this, I believe, is the meaning and significance of this very special day. And one of the things I'd like to end by saying is that even though sometimes it looks like his dream is not going to be fulfilled or hasn't been, I would say from a scripture in the Bible that says, "Be ye not weary in well-doing, for you will reap if you faint not." Thank you.